Hello, fellow pen lovers and stationery enthusiasts. It's Christy here, Snarky Wordsworth over on Instagram and Reddit. And today I have a brand new pen review for everybody out there. So this beauty is a Zodiac Pen Company Virgo model in the Golden Abalone. I knew that I wanted a pen in this particular colorway the second I saw the blank. I just fell in love. I'd always been kind of an admirer of the abalone blanks, but something about this one is just super special. Look at that shimmer! I mean, really though, the chatoyance in this thing is crazy. Like all of the pinks and the golds and slight greens and yellow, it's just insane. And I love that blend of colors. I've found myself in the last week that I've had this pen, because of course I've been writing with it every single day. I'm just that in love with it. I've found myself many times just taking a moment to sort of spin the pen body in my hand and just sort of look at how pretty it is, because it really, really is. So the Virgo model is a pretty standard pen, but it has some really lovely little light refinements. It's slightly tapered at the top and the bottom. It has flat finials, or mostly flat finials. And the step is very, very slight, and that was super important to me. So this is my very first completely bespoke pen. The closest I've probably come to something similar is purchasing a limited run from Edison Pen Company, but that is a completely different experience. And it's such a lucky thing that I got to work with Zodiac Pens Bart. Bart is just such a lovely, lovely guy. I had a lot of questions and a lot of concerns. I'm super type A, so I think about every decision a lot, and I kind of mull about it. And I was really nervous about certain things. Like I'd mentioned before, I have small hands and I really hate big steps on pens. There's just something about the way that it feels against my hands that I just hate. And he was very, patient about talking through some of the different design features, specifically about this one, that it does really feature one of the smallest steps you're going to find in any of his pens. And the way my hands fall, I don't feel anything problematic at all. It really is just an incredibly comfortable grip size for me. The section is really pretty similar to an Esterbrook, which is something that he had mentioned to me because I do love the way an Esterbrook feels in the hand. And so he was just one of those people who genuinely seems to love the process of fitting a pen with a pen user and making sure that the person who picks up one of his designs is really happy with them. And that is exactly what I am. I am not just happy, I'm absolutely ecstatic over this pen. And it's just delightful to know that no matter how many people pick up a Golden Abalone Virgo from Zodiac Pen Companies, this is the only one that is exactly like this. This is completely my pen. There will never be another one completely the same, exactly the same as it. And it's just a really nice feeling. Okay, let's run through a few specs for this lovely. Before this landed, I was a little bit anxious about the size. I thought that this might be a little too big for my preferences, but I'm so happy with it now that it's landed. Capped, it is 5 3/8 of an inch, which is a really, really reasonable size, especially if you are looking for like a medium-sized pen. This is like in my exact sweet spot. Uncapped, it is 5 1/4 inches. So if you are not a pen poster, and I will say that Bart did say he recommended not posting it just because it can cause some scratching on the barrel. So again, uncapped, it's 5 1/4 of an inch. If you do post it, and I am generally a pen poster, but this is actually a size that I'm 100% comfortable not writing with posted. But if you are someone who has to have a posted pen, this runs at 6 3/8 of an inch. Super comfortable, not at all back heavy. Like that's another really surprising element. It just balances beautifully. Posted, unposted, whatever your preference. Now, empty with no converter, it runs at 16 grams, and full with a complete draw, with a full draw, it runs at about 20 grams. So not a heavy pen at all. This thing has not given me any hand fatigue. I've been writing with it pretty much again nonstop in meetings, in letters, in journaling, and it just keeps writing. And I'm so pleased. Like I said, I have been so delighted from the moment that this thing landed. I can't even. But yeah, and so I opted to get the gold-plated stainless steel Yovo nib. And I gotta say, I've written with a lot of Yovo nibs, but I don't know, there's something magic about this one because I love it. Before it landed, I had already been sort of planning to have it sent off to have it custom ground, but I am 100% not doing that. I love this nib so much. If anything, I will buy another nib and have that sent off and then just swap between the two if I ever feel the need to, but this thing is glorious. It is a number 6, so if you do have other custom grinds, you are definitely going to be able to swap those out. But again, I don't know what it is, but this thing writes so smoothly and so beautifully. It's far and away my favorite Yovo nib that I have in my collection. So props to Bart. This is incredible. It's also the first pen to prompt me to blend my own inks. I had thought before everything that I wanted to try Majestic Maple in this from Ferris Press. Majestic Maple has given me problems before. It's got a load of shimmer in it, and for some nibs, it's too much. It's just way too much. But the color I thought would be perfect. Unfortunately, when I inked it up, it just was a little too light, not on the page, but just to match well with this particular pen. So I went back, I started mixing some of my other, it was a little too brown. I think that's the thing. So a friend had reminded me that I did have a tiny sample vial of Lady Rose, which for me is much too light, but definitely something that could be added. So I did add some Lady Rose to the Majestic Maple, discovered not quite right, added a little bit of Oyster Hour, still not quite there, and then did a couple of drops of Spadina Rose. And with that, I ended up with this. Now, I don't know if you're going to be able to tell, because I don't know if it's going to pick up, but there is a hit of the almost exact same pinky brown color when the light hits this pen. And I was so excited to have figured out how to do it. And I do think that the shimmer load within this particular blend of inks really works very well. I have not had any issues with the feed getting clogged, which is kind of miraculous because, again, in the past when I've used Majestic Maple, that has been a problem. So I get like a lovely hit of shimmer, but the perfect kind of color to complement the pen. So I don't know. I'm just so thrilled with everything that this purchase has brought about. And now I plan to try, blending some other inks that maybe, for pens that I have close approximations of perfect combos, but maybe not quite there. But yeah, I do really love the way that this turned out, and I've been having a lot of fun with it. So I'm going to go collect a few of my other pens just so you can kind of get a size comparison going on, and then I'll be back at the very end with a writing sample. So hold tight, I'll be right back. Okay, here is a small selection of pens that I use pretty frequently in my rotations, so you can kind of get a general idea of where the Virgo sizes up compared to them. Really, it's right in the middle of things. You've got the Banu Euphoria, which is the largest pen in my collection, an Esterbrook Esty, a Pilot Vanishing Point, a Lamy 2000, a Pelican M400, a Sailor Pro Gear Slim, a TWSBI Diamond Mini, and the Kaweco Sport. So again, it falls really pretty much in the middle size range as far as the pens that I have go. I would say this is very comparable as far as weight and feel to the Esty. I think my enjoyment with writing these go hand in hand. But I think pretty much anyone would really enjoy a Virgo pen, even if you prefer a much smaller pen. And let me go ahead and get these uncapped so you can sort of see how they line up that way, which I think is probably a much better comparison. Okay, here they all are uncapped but not posted. Obviously, you don't really see the Kaweco or the Diamond Mini or even really the Pro Gear Slim being used and not posted, but I figured I would leave this here just so that you could see it. And now we'll go ahead and post the pens just so you get an idea of how that lineup looks like. But I will say, once we're just dealing with uncapped pens, the Virgo falls right in between the Euphoria and the Esterbrook Esty, and you can see from the grip section, they really all are pretty comparable, but these two are very, very, very similar, and they do feel very much like they could be sibling pens, and I love that because, again, the Esterbrook Esty is, for me, one of the most comfortable pens in my collection to write with. I do tend to gravitate towards it when I know I'm going to be writing a long letter, and I'm discovering very quickly that the Virgo from Zodiac Pen Company is quite similar as far as that element goes as well. So give me just a second and I will post all of these so you can see that comparison too. So you can see from this shot that some pens are just not really made for posting. The Benu Euphoria is so long once it's posted, it barely fits in frame. I do sometimes write with it posted just if I'm nervous about the cap rolling somewhere, but those moments are very few and far between these days. The Esterbrook Esty does post because of that cushion cap, though it can be a bit easy to lose the cap when it's posted, so I usually don't post this anymore. Obviously, the vanishing point, no posting needed. I do write with the Lamy 2000 always posted, and the same with the 4 smallest pens always posted. But you can see there really isn't a huge need to do so. If you do post your Virgo, it ends up being just a tad smaller than the Esterbrook Esty, but larger than the Lamy 2000. So keep that in mind if you are a pen poster. And then significantly longer than these little babies over here. But what I do think is great, as someone who tends toward posting pens, I do not feel the need to do so with the Virgo. It is a perfectly comfortable size, even if I don't. So let me unpost it so you can see where it kind of lines up. So a little tiny bit shorter than, say, the Pelican M400 or the Pro Gear Slim or the TWSBI Mini, but pretty much spot on with the Kaweco Sport. So if you really like the length of the posted Kaweco Sport, this might be a total winner for you. Again, I love the grip section on this. It is just so wonderfully comfortable. But you can see, here's the lineup again. Posted or unposted, this Virgo is fantastic, and I definitely think whether you like a smaller pen or you like a larger pen, this could definitely work for you. All right, onward to the writing sample. As I mentioned, I do have that custom blended ink that has the Majestic Maple, the Lady Rose, the Spadina Rose, and the Oyster Hour all blended together in here, and it's manifested in this lovely gold shimmery pinky brown, and I am really, really enjoying it a whole lot. Let's go ahead and get a little bit of a close-up. You can see that fine nib still shows off a good amount of shading. I'm hoping that the shimmer will pop up, but I can't get the screen to show it. It is very apparent in real life, but sadly is not really showing up on the screen. But this nib is crazy, so definitely highly recommended. That fine nib is really, really wonderful. I'm definitely curious to see what some of the other Joe nibs in his lineup can do as well, so that's definitely something to think about for the future. But I am very, very happy with it. It writes so comfortably, and it's just really, really beautiful. Let's get one last shot of all of that shimmer in there. Like, just look at that little edge and that pocket of sunshine. But really, as I mentioned, I am so incredibly, incredibly happy with this pen. This Virgo model is everything I could have hoped for in a first bespoke pen. Bart was just the loveliest of guys to work with, very patient, very willing to go the extra mile to really make sure that the pen he creates is perfect for his customers, and just an overall really fun experience. He sent a couple of different videos of the process as it was going along, once when it had not been polished yet, so I got to see a little video of it throwing light even without that high gloss on it. And then of course he sent the final videos too, and it's just been a really, really fun experience, and the bug has totally bitten me. I'm super, super excited to continue on with my year of bespoke pens from indie makers. So if you have any recommendations for pen makers that I should be checking out, I have a couple that are already in the works and a couple that are on my very much wanted lists. So I hope that I'll be able to pick those up over the next couple of months. But yeah, I'm just really, really thrilled and so happy with this one. So it's highly recommended. If you are curious about Zodiac Pen Company and you have not yet decided to try them out, I strongly encourage you to. It's such a fun experience, and I'm really, really pleased with the product in the end. Okay, so if this video has been in any way helpful, interesting, entertaining, whatever, please do consider hitting that like button, potentially even subscribing to the channel. If you have any questions about this process, about Bart's company, Zodiac Pen Company, this particular model of pen, which again is the Virgo or the blank Golden Abalone, please, please, please pop those questions or comments into the comments below. I definitely love, love, love talking about pens, but I also love talking about stationery, about ink. Oh, that's the other thing. If you have any recommendations for custom blends, if you want to know more about my custom blend, definitely pop those things into the comments as well. I'm super excited about that element of this hobby that I have not previously delved into, and that now obviously I'm going to dive into. So as always, thank you so, so much for joining me. If you have made it to the end of this video, you are everything is awesome, and I absolutely adore you. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Again, thank you so much for joining me, and hopefully I will see you next time. Bye-bye.